the sun is high, we're feeling good. In Miami where the spirit's understood, with Bobby Finn's top leading the crew, we're gonna show you what these Dolphins do. Fans up high, the crowd's roaring loud, in the city with the blue and aqua crowd. Finn Scams is here with the play-by-play, we're getting ready, it's game day. Are you ready for some football? Miami Dolphins standing tall. Are you ready for some football? Showtime at the Hard Rock, y'all. From the tailgate to the field of green, with the best fans you ever seen. Bobby's got the scoop, hot off the press. In Miami, we roar to impress. Play up stats and pregame chat.
Good morning, Miami Dolphins fans, and welcome to the Miami Dolphins pregame show on FTSN. Round up and fins up, everybody. We're in for a good one. The Miami Dolphins take on the Cleveland Browns today. If anything could go right, it did for Miami yesterday. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Denver Broncos in overtime. The season is still alive. Miami, all they have to do is win. But wait a minute. Breaking news. It's official. Tua Tagovailoa will not play today. According to Ian Rappaport, Tyler Huntley will start in place for Tua. Tua out with, here's the irony, a hip injury. Before we get into that, though, we haven't seen him. He was out last week. Constanza, what's up, my man?
How are you, everyone? Honestly, it's a pleasure to be here. Last week, I actually got a nice little break. I was watching the Dolphins game in a bar in New York City, but I'm happy to be here. I gave Bobby a nice little break, a Christmas present. He didn't have to put up with me last week. Instead, he had to deal with Brett Lagasse, which is pretty funny. Brett says pretty much the same things I do, but Brett gets ripped on X, but on these shows, he doesn't get ripped as much as I do. I'm sort of like the son of Brett Lagasse and Greg Maney, and I get ripped, but I'm going to have some fun today. Honestly, it's football. It doesn't matter what's happening with the Dolphins because I was foregone when we were 2-6. So for me, any meaningful game is sort of fun for me. I'm not one of those people just watching it, but at the same time, I had a great week in New York, great time with the family. Woke up this morning with a little bit of an issue. Bobby, I don't know how this happened. I get an alert. You know, you get those alerts on your phone that something might be like from a bank saying you might be frauded, things like that. I actually didn't believe it for a minute, but then I went online and someone tried to fraud my U.S. credit card that I had when I was in the States. So at 4:30 in the morning, I'm talking to my bank this morning. So that's why I have a really big coffee this morning. I had to go out this morning, so I got a really big coffee because my card got frauded, so I had to deal with that this morning. But had a great time, saw the sights, great shows, Empire State Building. The kids had a blast. It was cold, but honestly, much warmer than it was here. And I have my sister and all my family up in Florida now for the Christmas holidays, and they're saying the weather up north in Florida is not very nice. It's pouring rain there today. So, you know what? I'm happy to be here talking football with you. I'm very grateful. And I've been watching all your shows. I may not be always in the comments, but I hardly missed any shows this week and been having a good time. And I would have given you my list yesterday. I just got caught up with something for the whole bar. I could have given you my list. I disagreed with one wholeheartedly, but that's all good.
What was that one?
Personally, for me,
yeah,
I Liv Morgan for me has been a carryover of something. I don't know. The one thing that was surprising for me from Kimmel, because Kimmel and I have one love that I think the WWE screwed up, even though AEW is a big mess right now with how they're running it. I even watched the show last night. I watched some of the highlights after. Anything Sasha Banks does is gold. Like watching her matches, she carries so many matches, and to lead what she did for a year there after what happened for me, people don't talk about it as much, but to hold two belts, go to NJPW, to do what she's doing in AEW, to build it up and to do it on her own, to try different things. For me, I feel like people have undercut her year. That was one for me. I'm just a big fan of hers.
So that would have been your women's wrestler.
And Drew McIntyre, okay. I understood the Drew McIntyre one just because of the storyline. I'm surprised none of you did breakout with for me, the breakout, I understand Will Ospreay, what he did last night, but for me every time I watch talent, to watch Jacob Fatu to do what he does is absolutely insane. Like to watch what that man does, like the whole thing with You can't take the bloodline on the other side with Solo. It's nothing without the werewolf. Without having that,
Yeah.
because by the way, you know who the werewolf reminds me of? It reminds me of Drew McIntyre when he was there for Dolph Ziggler. You knew that no matter what, they were going to be successful in one way, shape, or form, and people were going to watch it because of that talent. Like you saw what he did to Braun Strowman on SmackDown. Like it's amazing what that guy's capable of doing. So I disagree with a few of them.
So I will remind everyone who's just joining us right now this morning. This is the Dolphins pregame show, but we're just catching up.
I'm trying to avoid my rant.
I know it. I know. We're buttering you up for the ultimate letdown. And if you're just joining us, and if you don't know, Fitzstanza did not know the official news before the show.
I was out getting coffee.
We did talk about it yesterday on Fitz Talk Today that it was coming in that he was doubtful. And doubtful usually means you're more than likely out. But after the Broncos lost yesterday, you go, well, there's no way he's going to sit out. You know, the Dolphins are going to say, hey, we need you for as long as we need you, even if it's a Cam Ward halftime type of thing where you come out at the second half. You know, he came in, Broncos lost. Tua should play. Hip injury is that bad. He can't go. So, again, we're talking about our starting quarterback missing the most important game of the season right now for what? A hip injury.
Which is his own fault.
And it just the continuation, and again, you can't make this up. You look at the situation and, we talk about, everybody says, oh, I know you've been banging you keep saying it. Well, it's true. This falls on Chris Greer again.
And Tua and Mike McDaniel.
I understand.
All three.
I agree with this, that you're going to have to rely on, and I know, Snoop Huntley when he came in for Baltimore. You know what? You might be right. But what we saw earlier this year, the Dolphins didn't score over 16 points or 15 points with Tyler Huntley anytime he started. Okay, and I think they won one game. And I might be wrong, but I think they won one game. I don't even remember if they won a game.
With who? Snoop Huntley?
Yeah, did they win?
They won the New England game where they won by half a toe.
Okay, so there you go. So you go into this season with Tua as your quarterback, with no legitimate backup, because you think somehow, some way, he's going to survive the season again. I mean, thank God we don't listen to you with lottery numbers. Tua is out the majority, the first part of the season. We're in a hole. We're 7-8 right now. Or right? No, I'm sorry, 6-8. Right? What the hell are we?
7-8. We're 7-8.
7-8, with a chance to keep our playoff hopes alive, because it fell in our favor yesterday. And he's out. Tua's out. Snoop Huntley's coming in. This is a continuation of this story. And I understand, look, first off, I just want to preface. People say, oh, we got to get rid of him. I get it. Here's the deal. They just made that big contract extension. Does that mean they can't? No, it does not mean they can't, because you look what happened with Kirk Cousins. So that means it's mute. We go, oh, get rid of Tua. He ain't going nowhere. So what should the Dolphins do? Dolphins need to go get themselves a legitimate backup. Now, silver lining for this, if there is one with Tyler Huntley starting, season's on the line, how is he going to do with the season on the line, being the quarterback of this football team? Because that will tell you, could he be the backup next year? That's what Skylar Thompson did two seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago, when he came in and Miami still made the playoffs. Not saying it's going to happen, because you still need the Broncos to lose another one. You need the Colts to at least lose one, and Miami needs to win both games. So it's just a never-ending story with the Dolphins and Tua, that when you need him most, he's not there. And injuries happen. I understand that. You can't control it. But it's a never-ending story with the Miami Dolphins. You could say whatever you want about the other guys that are out there. I care only about the guy that's on our roster. But when I hear everybody bringing up, oh, this guy's garbage, this guy, no way, Tua's better than him, Tua's better than that. You know who was playing yesterday, getting his ass kicked? How many times he got hit? Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. They're there when the games count. They're there when the games matter. So I'm not putting it on them, But reliability, availability is the best ability. And Tua is not that.
I am.
Go ahead, Fitzsanson.
Okay. And honestly, cut me off if I go because I want to just be honest. I'm actually not going to scream about this. Last week, before I even talk about Tua, last week, Bobby, I'm watching that game at this amazing pub called Monk McGinnis in Soho, Tribeca area in New York. And I get back to the hotel and I'm catching up I'm watching your post game and all that. And I start scanning through Twitter and I see the planned, staged video of the Miami Dolphins showing Mike McDaniel talking to his team in the clubhouse, in the dressing room. And where's Chris Greer? Nowhere, because everyone knows he'll get booed. Who's there? Everyone's getting game balls. And that's SOB of an owner. You beat a totally injured team, a team that's going nowhere this season, and you hand the head coach a game ball for literally getting you one score. One score. The rest was Jason Sanders. They scored one touchdown. To give you a stat, Bobby, I'm going to give you guys a crazy stat you may not know about. The Dolphins need over 550 yards in the next two games to eclipse the 2019 Miami Dolphins yardage. The team that was tanking for their dear lives. They're still over 550 yards away from reaching that number. That's our offense. Tua Tagovailoa, you've been talking about for 3 years that we're a quarterback away. You say the last couple of weeks we can win with Tua. I don't disagree. Big O went off yesterday and did a special show, and he was talking like I was talking. And I'm going to be very frank on this network. I'm not going to swear, but I'm going to say it. Tua Tagovailoa is the dumbest football player. Actually, he's not even a football player. The dumbest human being I've ever met in my life. Why? Last year, he played 17 games. Why? He got bigger, he got stronger, and he got rid of the ball. This year, he decided, I'm going to lose weight, become more agile, and tell people I'm going to run through you. He ran into 190-pound DeMar Hamlin, out. He put the Texans game, when you and I did the post-game show, I said how upset I was. When he dove, he got hit. He hurt his hip again. He seems to forget he is not an athlete. He is not a football player. He's a passer. He's not the equivalent, but he's Drew Brees. He's Dan Marino. He's Joe Montana. He's even Tom frickin' Brady. What did these guys never do? They never ran with the ball diving head first into people. They got rid of the ball and they got rid of the play. Not even Joe Burrow does it. Justin Herbert doesn't even do it. And they're more athletes than he is. He is the dumbest. I will defend his play when he's actually on as much as anybody. But the guy is fully to blame for the collapse of this season. Why is he done for the collapse of this season? How many games has he played this year? 11. It's the least amount of games he's played in his career in a season in the NFL in 5 years. And that includes his 2 concussion season. This is the least amount of games he's been unavailable for. Tua Tagovailoa, we're stuck with him next year because his only contract starts next year. He is fully to blame because he's an absolute moron about how he takes care of his body. He doesn't care about winning football games. He's a selfish player. He's disappointed his head coach. He's disappointed his teammates. He's disappointed his owner. He's disappointed his general manager. He's disappointed the fans more than anything else. Mike McDaniel, if you knew he had a hip injury, if you knew that he had problems the way he is, you've done nothing to curb it. It's like you telling your child not to do something, and they continue to do it with no consequence. Mike McDaniel is his friend. He's not his head coach. He's not his boss. He doesn't listen. He will never listen. Mike McDaniel, like Steve Malloy said many, many times, he's a social worker. He's about bringing people together. Kumbaya, my lord. He's not a leader. The fact that he's getting a game ball for beating a 6-8 team is embarrassing. I was listening to NFL Radio Sirius XM just before. Do you know which coach, Bobby? Do you know which coach started the same year as Mike McDaniel as a head coach in this league? Who's from the same tree? His name is Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell, with Kirk Cousins, who people say Tua is better than, and Sam Darnold, has put together in his first 3 seasons 2 13-win seasons. Not one, 2 13-win seasons. Mike McDaniel is not even close. And he's done it with Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins, with players nobody wanted. He took Brian Flores under his wing. He's done it with, why? Because he's a leader of men. This guy is no leader. Zach Taylor last night is no leader. He was trying to lose the football game. John Payton did the best he could. Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback, but he did the best he could with what he had yesterday, but he still played a very good game. They're in a tight spot on the road. And he's done a lot better than he did last year. You're seeing growth from Sean Payton. He's going to develop Bo Nix into a quarterback. So kudos to Josh Wingate. We will keep on saying Josh Wingate's name. I think that Bo Nix, in the end, long-term, might be the best quarterback in this draft of last season. Even better than Jane Daniels long-term. He gets over the interception and took his team down the field. Marcus Mims' throw on a 4th and 1, that was beautiful. Last night, I watched 2 quarterbacks, and Tua's not even close. Mike McDaniel, you know where I stand. He'll be back, but he's no leader. And the fact that Ross wants that mediocrity is beyond my comprehension. Now, Chris Greer has been hit. But the thing about Chris Greer that bothers me more than anything is less about his draft picks, less about who he selected a backup quarterback, is the fact that he's hiding. The fact that he's not showing his face. The fact that those 2 guards are the 2 most asinine guards you've ever seen. Who is holding this team accountable? If Ross is saying that this is our quarterback, I'm willing to give him $212.5 million, Chris Greer is saying, and they want speed. What is speed proven? Jalen Waddle's not going to play today. Tyreek Hill's playing with an injury. A friend of mine brought his kid to Keshe by Soul Runner this week to meet Tyreek Hill in Aventura Mall, and everyone's so happy to see him. I would have had a word with Tyreek Hill. Because honestly, what are they doing? And I'm going to give you kudos, Bobby. And I'm hard on Devon Achane. I like Devon Achane. I like Jonnu Smith. But those are the kind of players you have when you're a winning football team. And they're complementary players. But this team wasn't built that way. This team was built for quick release, speed, down the field. That's why you're paying $58 million to your wide receivers. No other team. Last night, Bobby, you wonder why the Bengals won? Yes, they have Joe Burrow. But they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Are those players able to make plays yesterday? Did you see the plays those 2 players were making? Our players aren't making those plays. From Ross to Greer to McDaniel, but the person who's most to blame for our losing season, and I said it after he got injured, I blame less Mike McDaniel. I blame less Chris Greer. I blame Tua Tagovailoa. Because Tua Tagovailoa knew last year how to stay safe. This year, he told everybody, I'm a football player. You're a moron. You're not a football player. Dan Marino's not a football player. Tom Brady's not a football player. Lamar Jackson's a football player. Derrick Henry's a football player. Liam Eichenberg's more of a football player because he goes into the trenches. You are a passer. Your job is to back up, throw. Your job is not to run. Your job is not to dive. Your job is not to be agile. There's nothing wrong with being Joe Montana, Drew Brees, Dan Marino, Tom Brady. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. Joe Flacco today is going to give, I believe, and you agree with this. You remember last year with Cleveland? He gives the Colts a better chance as a passer than Anthony Richards does as an athlete. And Cam Ward did everything he possibly could yesterday, but he's an athlete. His defense is absolutely godforsaken awful. Like, I've never seen a team. Like, have you ever seen, by the way, on a side note, have you ever seen a more asinine, awful defense than the Miami Hurricanes defense? Like, have you ever seen anything that bad? Like honestly, like, I've never seen anything that bad. Zach Sealer. If you're Zach Sealer, if you're Calais Campbell, if you're Jalen Ramsey, I feel like the defense from a couple of years ago, remember there were rumblings that they wanted Tua off the team? Like, you're doing Jordan Brooks, you're doing everything you possibly can. And in the biggest game of the year, your quarterback takes a dive and gets hit in the ribs in the Texans game. Every time you needed your quarterback this year, he hasn't shown up. Fumbling the ball against Arizona, diving into DeMar Hamlin. the dive 4 interception, awful game. His yards only showed up after it was 27-3 in Green Bay. Him and Mike McDaniel don't win when it matters. They are going to be 58 degrees today. We'll be lucky if they score 20 total points today. You're playing you need to win today, and Tua Tagovailoa, when we need him most, is going to be in his flip-flops and his street clothes today. It's absolutely a shame that this quarterback, when you've needed him, fails this football team. He has failed this fan base. He should be embarrassed because he could have avoided all of these injuries. He did it last year, and they made the playoffs. This year was supposed to be a growth year, and you know it. I know it. I'm not even looking at the comments. Scotty knows it. Daniel knows it. I love this football team. I like Tua. I will defend his play when he's on the field. But man, oh man, you need to be on the field. Even when you take the hit in the pocket, I understand. But you're diving. All his injuries, Bobby, this year has been because he put himself in danger by choosing to run with the football. Joe Burrow didn't do that yesterday. Bo Nix didn't do that yesterday. Justin Herbert didn't do that yesterday. And by the way, people don't think head coaching matters. Look at the two teams before I give you back the floor. The Buffalo Bills got rid of Stephon Diggs, got rid of Josh Poyer, most of their defense. They drafted a wide receiver in the draft. They relied on their offensive line, their trenches with Milano and Oliver and that group in their offensive line. They got better this year. They got rid of Brandon Staley. They got rid of Keenan Allen. They got rid of Mike Williams. They brought in J.K. Dobbins. And what is John Harbaugh? Have you seen John Harbaugh's record when he comes in first year of every team? Do you know he's +5 or more in wins in every place he's gone, from San Francisco to Michigan to the Chargers? Coaching matters. And the problem is Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa are like fire and water. They're not good for each other. It's because there's no accountability on this football team. There is none. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, Bobby, got a game ball for beating a 6-8 team, not guaranteeing them a playoff spot. It doesn't make any sense. This team foundationally, from the core four, from Ross to Greer to McDaniel to Tua, I feel bad for you, me, and the fans. We give so much to this football team. We're never going to give up on this football team, but every time we need them to do something for our football team, they shit the bed. They shit the bed. And I feel bad for everyone. I'm not upset because I knew this was going to happen, because Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, it's like basically they let the kids play. Let them do whatever they want. There's no responsibility. It's like literally letting everyone out of the asylum. That's what they do. It's like having no warden in the jail. Do whatever you want. Do get arrested, get pulled over, go get everything. The party boat stuff, the stuff. There's no accountability on this franchise. It's all about having the nice football field, the nicest first class everything. But you know what you should have first class? First class on the field. Our team is like a third world country. Everything falls apart. Broken potholes, rolls, injuries, doesn't matter. We don't have Kendall Fuller again. Glenn Dahl. X at least got on the field. Kendall Fuller, we've hardly seen him this year. We're relying on two undrafted players in Storm Duck and Kader Kohu. What are we talking about here? No Anthony Walker. We're relying on a guy we have to pick up midseason, Terrell Dobson. What are we talking about here? And who knows? We haven't even heard whether or not Kendall Lamb or Armstead are going to play today. That's when we know we throw it in the towel, Bobby. If we don't see Teron Armstead on the field today or Kendall Lamb, you know they're trying not to win this football game.
Oh, it would not benefit them if they didn't win the game. I mean, because it's
if they lose today, they should be fired. If they lose today and they don't show an effort, Bobby, they should all be fired. Because he did give kudos to Josh Phil. Remember that interview a couple of years ago in 2014 where they beat the Vikings, and he said, I have some Christmas present for you. Joe Philbin's coming back. What happened next year? Joe Philbin lasted 4 games.
Yeah.
So Ross could change his mind, because if they lose today in embarrassing fashion, if they lose to the Browns today.
I see. I know a lot of people took that game ball as a sign of, he's guaranteed to come back. And obviously, it's a sign that Ross does like McDaniel, and McDaniel seems like a likable person if you got to know him outside of just being
Of
the coach.
course, yes.
Absolutely, he works with him every day. He sees what he goes through every day as a coach and as an employee, and as probably somebody they could talk football with. And McDaniel's a likable dude, but a lot of people took that as a guarantee. I took it as a hey, you know what, good win. Way to keep your team head in the game when there's distractions and everything. But if the Dolphins lose the next 2 games, especially they lose today with an opportunity to stay alive after the Broncos and maybe possibly the Colts, but we know Joe Flacco's at a start for the Colts, and that's a better situation than Huntley starting for Miami. And I'm not hating on Huntley; it's just true.
It's not Huntley's fault.
But I wouldn't sleep on any of that. Again, the best case scenario, if it was, we're going to let go of Greer and keep McDaniel, is you let go of Greer and you tell your new GM, you're going to decide the fate of Coach McDaniel. Now, if the new GM says, hey, I like him, I think we could work together, blah, 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 then I'll be for it. I'll be, okay, well, that's the new GM, but that's neither here nor there. We can't do that until it happens. I know we'll talk about it on post game, especially if they lose, what the hell happened, because again, here's the silver linings of it all, right? I mean, just to define any, really, the opportunity for Tyler Huntley to show that he could be QB2. It could be like, even though it's not a glorified, because as I said, if the Broncos win, this is going to become a glorified preseason game where you get to see a lot of the guys you usually wouldn't get to see in this type of situation in a regular season game. Now, it kind of continues, even though Miami has an opportunity to win and chance to go into the playoffs if they continue that into next week, possibly Tua playing that week because he's not out for the year, he's out for today. But if Miami could win with an opportunity to go to New York next week and with a shot to get in, this gives Huntley an opportunity to show he could be that guy. This gives an opportunity to Coach McDaniel to show, because evidence, body of work, when Tua's out, McDaniel can't call a good game with another quarterback or a good game for a quarterback. He has with Skyler, with Huntley, with Tim Boyle, with Mike White. Every time someone else steps in, he flops. So this is an opportunity for today to show that no one's expecting. Well, there is, because Hank said 3 touchdowns, but no one is expecting really him to light it up. If you're expecting Tyler Huntley to come out and have a 250 plus yard game, 3 touch or whatever, that's not fair to Tyler Huntley. Let's be real. It would be awesome. I don't sleep on anybody doing it. He's a professional quarterback, but that's not fair. And it's ridiculous to even think that for you. All he needs to do is quarterback a good game, play to win. That's it. Protect the football, get the ball to your playmakers, and let them do the rest. Coach McDaniel, he has to have this guy prepared. He needs to call a good game for Tyler Huntley and Devon Achane. This has to be a Devon Achane game. It has to be. He's your playmaker. Tyreek Hill, you pay him a lot of money to be your number 1 guy, but he has not showed up. And it did not matter when Tua was in the game, because he did not come in. He did not become who he is. Whether that's on him, whether that's on Tyreek or Tua, who knows? But it's not the same. So I know a lot of people, but we pay him all this money, he should be the guy. Well, guess what? When we do get him the ball, he's not catching it, or he's not making the plays. That throw from Tua a couple weeks ago, that underthrow, was an underthrown ball, but that was in Tyreek's hands. And Tyreek gets paid a lot of money to make that catch in that situation. You're the number 1 player on this football team. You're spending a lot more time on social media talking about coaching, talking about putting yourself, doing a Photoshop of you in a Chargers jersey. You're doing a lot of that. Your head's not in the game. So I don't want to hear anything about a Tyreek. I don't want to hear anything about a Waddle. You go to the guys that have been here all year, busting their ass and putting themselves on the line and giving everything every play. And that is on offense, your number 1 and number 2 contributors, Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane. I hate to put it on them, and I'm not gonna blame them if they don't step up today, because they've been doing it all year. But this game is on them on offense to give the best for Tyler Huntley. Be available, be ready, be reliable. I'm not going to count on Tyreek and Waddle because I can't. I hope I could at the end of the game where I go, damn man, finally, shout out. I'm not holding my breath. So again, silver lining here, we get to see Tyler Huntley in a role of what he should as a backup quarterback. Could we rely on him to come in on these in moments? Because this is a time when your backup quarterback has to step up. The season is on the line. It's official. If Miami loses this game, the season is over. They play next week for nothing. The season is over today if they lose today's football game. That's it. You could sit for Tyreek. You're going to cut Calais Campbell after this game. Tyreek could be shut down after this game. Tua more than likely will be shut down after this game if Miami loses, because there will be no chance in hell to make the playoffs after today if you lose. Cincinnati did you a favor yesterday. They beat the Broncos. You're alive. You can't control what happens in New York with the Colts. You need to win. And you don't have your most important player today. He's out, according to Ian Rappaport. Could things change? There's no official thing yet. We don't know. But we do know is that he's doubtful. They elevated Skylar Thompson. That tells you that Tua is not going to play. They're playing it safe. His hip is that bad that they're not going to come in. But go ahead, Fitzanza.
Okay, so the whole thing about the jiu-jitsu thing that some Nacho Fins made him comment of, which is that worked. The problem is Tua continues to run the football. The purpose was from falling. The problem is he's not falling. He's diving. That has nothing to do with falling. That's diving. He's purposely putting himself in a position. It's like honestly like in basketball. It's like putting Muggsy Bogues against Victor Wembanyama. Like, what is he trying to do going after defensive players? The thing that bothers me and what you will agree on is I don't care if Tua doesn't play today. Want to know why? Because if Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel had player management, because we know Chris Greer is partly a yes man. If I told you today, Bobby, that on the offensive side of the ball, you had Teron Armstead, Isaiah Wynn, Aaron Brewer, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, and Derrick Henry, I couldn't care less who my quarterback was. The team is not foundational in the trenches. Devon Achane is going to do everything he can today, and so will Jonnu Smith. But today is a game where it's 58 in the rain. It's going to be a mud bowl. The Dolphins could use a power back. Achane's a great weapon. You've even said it. Great weapon. I love the kid. But he's not a power back. Today, if you had your staunch offensive line, which you would have developed properly by drafting, I love Chop. But you know who could have been useful this year over Chop? Graham Barton. Because Graham Barton can move along the line, and you could have also had Aaron Brewer. And you could have played Isaiah Wynn, and you don't have to keep up. I don't know what Butch Berry's infatuation is with Robert Jones, because the guy takes more penalties than Liam Eichenberg. It's ridiculous. But even Kendall Lapp, there's so many things they could have done in the trenches. They did nothing. Next year, I don't want to hear one thing about the word speed. Everything has to be trenches. Go draft every offensive lineman you can.
That's a personal preference, and you know me, I'm about the trenches too and physical football.
Not in the first round.
As long as Chris Greer is the GM.
Agreed. But I know. But my point is it doesn't matter who you have at wide receiver. If you don't have a power back to complement Achane, Jalen Wright's still a developmental player. You don't need Mostert next year. You don't need Wilson. You know Achane is going to be back. Achane could be your wide receiver 3 or 4 with Washington, Waddle, and Hill. I'm fine. Get a power back. Do you understand if you had J.K. Dobbins, what kind of a difference? Do you understand how crucial the Lions are now starting to fall apart because the things about Aiden Hutchinson? Do you know how much they're going to miss David Montgomery in the playoffs? Do you have any clue how good David Montgomery was? Because it gives them a complimentary. We don't have that. We're relying on a little guy to do everything. Tua's development. The reason why he has to be a passer is because he needs to be a key cog in this offense. If they had a proper foundational offensive line, because even this year, Bobby, Saquon Barkley, even with his drops, is 200-something odd yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's record. He's going to get 2,000 yards. It's amazing. Jalen Hurts has not been the problem. Today, Kenny Pickett is going to play, and they can win that football game because they have Saquon Barkley. We don't have a Saquon Barkley. We have Devon Achane, but he's not a game breaker like Saquon Barkley. My point is that Tua Tagovailoa should be paying the Miami Dolphins to play football. because we're not earning his team. Bobby, it's 5 years and he's playing 11 games. Teron Armstead's played more football games than Tua Tagovailoa this year. If I took a bet this year and I told you who plays more football games this year, more snaps this year, Teron Armstead or Tua Tagovailoa, who would you have predicted? You would have said Tua Tagovailoa based on last year. It's a joke.
So I understand your points. So I'm going to preference that before, but like for me, Miami is not losing football games or where they are, and I know what you're saying. So preference that Miami is not where they are right now because they have Devon Achane at running back.
No, I never said that.
No. Hold on. You said they have Saquon Barkley. We have Devon Achane. Wait a second. We're not going to lose this game because we have Devon Achane at running back. We're not going to lose this game because we have whomever at offensive or Chop Robinson and edge rusher. Those guys have done their job. You know, Chop Robinson is leading all the rookies in sacks with 7 sacks this year. A lot of people were criticizing because he didn't have that in college. Look at his numbers because nobody's looking at the tape. This kid is showing out. Yeah, they should, Graham Barton would have been very nice, but we have Chop, and Chop's showing up. He's doing his job. Devon Achane's been doing his job all year. We're losing from incompetent coaching, incompetent front office management, and incompetent quarterback.
Yes.
Inconsistent quarterback. That's the problem with this football team. And you're paying guys who don't show up week in, week out. Guys who off field issues, whatever it may be. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. It is what it is. But on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, whenever you're on, when you're paid all that money, we're talking Devon Achane and Chop Robinson, when realistically we should be talking about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa, which is we talk about them all the time. Those are the guys where I'm going, what the hell? And that, I understand because me, I banged the table for a Derrick Henry or a thumper at running back for these type of situations or whatever. But Miami is not where they are because they don't have a Derrick Henry. They are who they are because who's their general manager? We're more worried about the offensive line than you are.
He's a coward. Where has he been?
Cares. I hope he's hiding because he knows his job is done.
Do you know that he doesn't come out? Why is it the Garfinkel?
Garfunkel is Ross's right hand man. That dude
they're
shows
coming
up
on the sideline. They're cheering. Chris Greer. No, you want to know why Chris Greer didn't come out with them? Because he knows he'll get booed. Like that. That's what I don't think. Let me ask you something. How does a multi-billionaire, the team is worth $6.5 billion. He's worth close to $12 billion. Not sense that the fan base and this organization is no better off as a team. Maybe the facilities, the team is no better than since he took over. How does he not see it? How does he not see that you paid $58 million to wide receivers and $50 million? And if I'm Tom Garfunkel or I'm even Dan Marino, I walk into his office and say, our offense is worse on pace now to have a worse season than the Brian Flores, Chan Gailey of 2019 with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Explain this to me and Josh Rosen. Explain this to me. How is this team worse on offense? Bobby, as much as we rip Vic Fangio and how soft our defense can be, top 10 last year.
Yeah.
Do you know, and we rip Anthony Weaver as much as we want because sometimes the defense can be a little soft. Do you know what the Miami Dolphins defense is ranked in the NFL this year? 8th.
Yep.
You have the 8th ranked defense. You have the 20-something ranked offense. And you have an offensive focused head coach. With the number one, with 3 guys, how many guys on offense? 4 or 5 guys in the top 100? Are you kidding me? This offense has way more money spent on it than the defense. 3 players. I think it would take, 20 players on the defense to equal the amount of money the players make on the offense? It would take the entire defense I think the entire defense combined doesn't make the amount of money those three players make. And this is what we have to show for it. A guy, but Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle aren't even in the top 2 of receptions on the team this year. It's going to your tight end, and it's going to your running back. That is who's that on? That's not on Tua. That's on the head coach. You can't figure out a way to do it. Bobby, I'm watching it yesterday. You see Mims making that catch. You see T. Higgins making that catch. Have you, outside of game 1, where the 80-yard reception touchdown, where he put his hands behind his wrists, behind his back for the touchdown, have we seen one over-the-top touchdown this year from Waddle or Hill? One? Outside of that one? I don't remember one. Can you tell me last time you saw it? I don't remember one deep throw from one quarterback on this team this year. Not one. I don't understand it. And they're cheering in the like. I understand it's football and every game matters. Like how excited the Bengals were yesterday. Let me ask you something. Do you have any faith that when the last night's game, that if not Joe Burrow, if that was Tua Tagovailoa on the Miami Dolphins against the Broncos in that moment at home, do you have any belief that Mike McDaniel, because Joe Burrow did it in spite of Zach Taylor? Have you seen a more asinine guy in your life? He's just like, how do you not kneel down again and kill 40 seconds? Like some of these coaches, like I would, if they lost that game, Zach Taylor wouldn't have made it to the dressing room. But maybe Mike Brown's that cheap that they wouldn't have fired him because Stephen. I don't know, but all to say, I'm looking at other. I don't want to compare other teams, but you're watching the games yesterday. You're watching Jim Harbaugh. You're watching Justin Herbert. You're watching Bo Nix. You're watching Joe Burrow. Even Matthew Stafford. I don't know what's going on the last 2 games, but that game on Thursday night with the Seahawks 6-3, last night 13-9. There's some of these. I don't know if you noticed. 2 of these football games the last couple of days have been godforsaken awful. But I'll be surprised if there's 24 points scored in this football game today. Honestly, I don't expect. Like I expect Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford and Devon Achane are going to be hot commodities today. They're going to get the ball a lot. But
so I want to say very quick, Kevin Lee. Absolutely right, though. With Denver losing yesterday, with a win today, Miami's chances go up. That's true. And if Indianapolis loses somehow today, all we need is a KC to beat Denver next week. That's right. And well, Miami has to win next week too. That's the main thing. They have to win this week and next week. Indianapolis has to lose either this week or next week, and Kansas City has to beat Denver next week, and then Miami is in. So that's true. Miami still, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback, Miami has to show up and win. And that's why this game is so important. It's absolutely right. And again, could you win this game? Yes. Yes, you can. Miami could still win this game. Absolutely. It's Cleveland. I think the weather is not as bad. I'm trying to remember.
Cleveland today is raining with 58 degrees.
So raining with 58. So
no excuse.
There's nothing to. Yeah, this is football game. No. This is a football game. This is football weather. So
I want to question this. Just I love Linda. She has to say so far, but I want to clarify something. So far this year, Tua has thrown 15 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against non-playoff teams. Against playoff teams, he's thrown 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In his career, and since with Mike McDaniel, he has thrown like 35 touchdowns and 8 interceptions against non-playoff teams. And against playoff teams, he's thrown 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa, when it actually matters with Mike McDaniel, gets lost. Because, Bobby, even last week, you were watching that game. They still can't clock manage. They still can't do it. How is Tyler Huntley going to get the play call in right? You see Mike McDaniel on the sideline still reading the play call with under 10 seconds left. They can't get it in. They can't figure it out.
And I will say very quick, looks like here that Patrick Mahomes will not play next week. Carson Wentz will start.
Did they confirm that?
That's what it looks like here. That they have decided to bench Patrick Mahomes next week against the Broncos.
They're letting him take 3 weeks off. That's still not the smartest. If you're Andy Reid. By the way, Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who would you have more faith in today as your backup quarterback? Carson Wentz or Tyler Huntley?
Carson Wentz.
Exactly. If Carson Wentz was starting today, I don't think we'd be fearful. No matter what, because he started a football game. He's led his team to playoffs. He's done something in the NFL. Tyler Huntley has had a cup of coffee.
Let me see. Let's see. This was hardly convincing and unlikely. He played it as in noted overnight. Tyler Huntley, wide receivers are Tyreek, Malik, Craycraft, Izakama, Wilsey, and Eskridge, and Achin, elite receiving back. So it looks like Jalen Waddle will not play today. It looks like that right now. Nothing confirmed, but that's what Barry Jackson kind of alluding to here. Yeah. Underdog NFL says Ian Rappaport, Garrett Wilson could request a trade if Aaron Rodgers is the Jets quarterback next year. Let us first off shout out to everyone who's watching. We got over 171 people tuning in right now. It's really cool. We appreciate you all taking your Sunday and joining us talking Dolphins. This is the FTSN Miami Dolphins pregame show. Of course, we usually talk about the game the majority of the time, and we will. We're going to get to that. But, of course, the breaking news today that Tua, according to Ian Rappaport, is more than likely out with Tyler Huntley starting and Skylar Thompson as your QB2. This is huge. Why? Well, Broncos lost yesterday. Miami's playoff hopes still alive. Miami needs to win today. Indianapolis needs to lose one of the 2 weeks. Miami needs to win next week, and Broncos need to lose again next week as well. If Colts just lose today, all Miami needs is a win next week as well if Miami wins, and a Broncos loss, which, of course, Carson Wentz is starting in place of Pat Mahomes.
The Giants have won 2 games, and we're relying on Drew Lock and the New York Giants to beat the Colts. Like, are we kidding me? Like, that's the sad part for all of us. This is the Dolphins. This is the Dolphins. We have our moments. That's what Dolphins is about seasons. It's about moments. It's not about seasons. It's about moments. And by the way, I believe the Dolphins could win this football game. Of course they can, until the game actually starts. Because then the Dolphins always have a chance to win a football game until the game starts. Because it doesn't make sense. This is the kind of game, Bobby. Let me ask you. This is the kind of game where you say to yourself, "What? Like the Dolphins? This is the kind of game, Brain, no Tua, where Mike McDaniel. This feels like the game in New England a couple of years ago where Teddy Bridgewater. By the way, what kind of an insult? How stupid is this? How crazy? We didn't talk about this, Bobby. I don't know if you brought it up on Fitz Talk today at all. And I couldn't have my show Thursday. How is it that Teddy Bridgewater was available for the Lions to come back? You couldn't knock on his door? You couldn't ask him? You couldn't have asked him all season to come out for a workout? He's the backup quarterback and they don't believe in Hendon Hooker yet. They need him for the playoffs. Are you telling me, Bobby, when all the games Tua has been out?
You watched Teddy Bridgewater last year, right?
When he was in he knew more about this offense.
I know, but hear me out.
He could have. Go look at his stats from 2 years ago. Yes.
How much were you hating on Teddy Bridgewater when he was our backup?
But I hate on everybody.
You didn't hate. Yeah, no. But realistically, come on. Let's be real.
I would have taken him over the 3 that we had before.
I get it, but it's like I'm not going to lose sleep over not signing.
Oh no, that's not my point. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you had Tim Boyle, we talked about someone knowing the offense and how difficult it is to learn the offense. To cut Mike White and never go back and get him. You telling me that Teddy Bridgewater couldn't have given you better performance than Tim Boyle or Tyler Huntley?
Wasn't Teddy Bridgewater coaching in Florida? Wasn't that where he was coaching? He was a high school coach here?
Yes.
I don't think he wanted to come to Miami.
I know, but we don't know that. We never asked him.
But I'm just saying, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe that's because he didn't want it.
No, my point is I think this team is so stubborn. Bobby, what has proven to Butch Barry? No one talked about Butch Barry this year. He's been an utter failure. Because what has Rob Jones and Liam Eichenberg proven? They're the 2 of the bottom 5 worst guards in the NFL. and we keep throwing him out there. And and by the way, did you happen to notice how good the right side with Kendall Lamb and Isaiah Wynn was last year for Devon Achane last week? You know how good it was when Liam Eichenberg wasn't in the lineup? Let's put him back in. Like, Bobby, let me ask you something. What would be your reaction if you find out, like, in February that we've extended Liam Eichenberg?
Non-reaction, because it depends on who our GM is.
Can you imagine the
Chris Greer, I just go, it's typical.
No, but my the problem is I go to myself, is it all about the money for him? Is it really come to the point where for Stephen Ross, it's all about the money? Is he that guy who gives you the perception that everything looks good, but he doesn't care how miserable everybody is inside? The fans with their season tickets, the cost of going to a game, the cost that he doesn't care. It's all about as long as he has nice things, he doesn't care. Like last week, to be proud of that win last week, Bobby. Were you proud of that victory last week? I'm happy we win. Were you proud of if Jason said, I'm honestly right now, I'm sure people have been talking all week about the MVPs of this team. How sad would it be that Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle aren't even in my top 6 or 7 of best players? You have Sealer, you have Campbell, you have Achane, you have Smith, you have Sanders, you have Ramsey, you have Kohu, you have Brooks, you have Armstead, you have Brewer. I haven't even gotten to a quarterback and our 2 top receivers yet. Name me one player of the players I just mentioned who have been worse than those 3. Not one.
Well,
Kohu's had an improved season.
I think Tyreek. I mean, I think Tua should be up there because when he has been in,
when he has,
but you got to count that because you just said Terran Armstead, and when the hell has Terran?
What's his record? Terran Armstead has been one of the top rated left tackles this season.
He's in,
but he's only missed 2. He's only missed 2 games. He's only missed 2 games.
Ah, stop it.
Let me ask you something. What's Tua's record this year? 6-5. That's what you expect from your quarterback? 6-5? 6-5. That's your starter. My memory of Tua Tagovailoa is punting the ball outside in the Arizona game. Whee! That's what he was doing. Like, there he slid properly. Like,
what's up, George?
Honestly, for me, I like Tua as a player on the field when he's doing his job. I'm happy to have him. But let me ask you, is he a bust for you?
Who?
Is Tua? Do you regret ever drafting Tua?
I didn't draft Tua.
No. Do you regret that the Miami Dolphins drafted Tua?
Man,
would we have been like if you look
let
back?
Me just say, first of all,
I'm asking the question.
Let me ask you this because you've been here since that draft. You've known me since that draft.
Quarterback away.
Who did I want?
Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. So, yeah, but to say I regret, there's nothing to regret because I know who I wanted. But Tua is our quarterback, so I support Tua as our quarterback. But I did not want Tua as our quarterback. I didn't want him to be drafted because of his injury concerns. And to me, he relied too much on the stars around him, on the star talent around him with the Derrick Henrys and the Devontae Smiths and the Jalen Waddles and whomever else was there, Jerry Jeudy. Where you look at the Joe Burrows, but you look at the Justin Herberts. They traded Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and everything. You go, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They don't have any weapons, and look what he's doing there. So
head coaching.
I wouldn't say I don't regret because I wasn't there. However, again, he's the Dolphins quarterback. I want him to win. I want him to be successful. I want him to be healthy because he's our best chance to win. His record is better than Herbert's. You see, this is where the record comes into play. This is a team. It's a team record. Yes. Tua is not 6-5. The Dolphins are 6-5. The Dolphins are 6-8 or 7-8 right now. The Miami Dolphins are 7-8. It's not just we talk. That's the problem. We're talking about one guy. That's what I'm saying. It's bigger than Tua Tagovailoa. The Dolphins situation is bigger than Tua Tagovailoa.
But he's the own worst. By the way, every injury he has taken. Every injury is because he could have avoided it. Injuries happen in football, but it's not like someone fell on his leg. He chose to dive, Bobby. That dive, I said to you on that post game, that dive against the Texans, I was livid. I go, he's never going to learn. And the coach doesn't say to him on the sideline, if you do that again, no, just keep going. Just keep going. And like all this, Bradley Chubb, let's sit him the rest of it. Like, I would honestly, in this game, if I were them, I would have cut Calais Campbell this morning. Let him go sign somewhere else. Why are you going to potentially have Calais Campbell injure himself today? As a kudos to Calais Campbell, let him not play. What, do you need him to win today? By the way, Justin Herbert, like you said, he had a great game, but that's all about scheme. Because you know what's interesting about Jared Goff this year? Who does he have? Penei Sewell. Who does Justin Herbert have? Joe Alt. Who does the Baker Mayfield have? Tristan Wirfs. Lane Johnson. When you have tackles like that and staunch players like that protecting your quarterback.
Let me just say very quick. First off,
we miss Austin Jackson.
Everyone who's watching right now, shout out to everybody who's tuning in. I see some new people. I see some of our regulars. I'm really thankful. Lizzie Fins fan is in the house. Ian Rappaport reported that Tyler Huntley is to start. Lizzie, obviously Dolphins haven't confirmed anything, but it is from Ian Rappaport and the NFL Network. Let's see. William Hawks. William Hawks says Justin Herbert, when the draft happened, wouldn't be in the league or at least on this team with the offensive line and weapons that Tua has had. Again, is what it is. And, we can't do revisionist history. I was just saying my preference at that point. If the team would have done what they did in that time frame, I mean, you look at what Justin Herbert is doing right now with worse weapons than Tua has. He's surviving. He's there. He's making plays. He's still one of those top 10, top 15 quarterbacks. I mean, you put him with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane, I'm sure he'd get more out of them as well. Look what it did for Tua. But again, that's revisionist history. I'm not talking about, if he would have came. No, I was just saying when Evan said, do I regret drafting Tua? When the Dolphins drafted Tua, it is what it is. I didn't, I was on the, Joe Burrow wasn't going to happen because we knew he was going number one. I was interested in Tua, at Justin Herbert at that time, but we drafted Tua. And Tua as the Miami Dolphins quarterback, I support him. I support him as the quarterback. I root for him because if he wins, we win. But, everyone should know where I stand on the Tua situation. Miss Fins is in the house. Appreciate you, Miss Fins, as always, my friend. I hope you had an unbelievable Christmas and you have an amazing New Year. That goes to everybody. Happy holidays, happy New Year.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
Chanukah, all of the above. We appreciate you guys. For everyone who's joining us, tuning in, always tuning in, our regulars, 72 Undefeated. Great to see you, DSG Label. Appreciate you, brother. Joshua, I see you. Appreciate you guys all there. Shout out. You're watching the FTSN pregame show, Miami Dolphins. Tyler Huntley is slated to start, according to Ian Rappaport, NFL Network. By
the way, yeah, no. You know what it is? I don't feel bad for Tyler. See, Tyler Huntley can do something. The problem is that the scheme doesn't work. The problem is the schemes don't work because it's built for one quarterback. And how long have I been saying that? When Bridgewater came in, when any backup came in, what's always been the problem? Mike McDaniel doesn't scheme for other quarterbacks. He doesn't prepare quarterbacks because there's no reps there. There's no focus there. And like to say that Tyreek this week excuses that he didn't get enough reps with Tua and that's why he's dropping footballs, I don't want to hear that. This has to do with the mentality of Mike McDaniel and his team. It's like, Bobby, you walk in anywhere, you bring your kids to school, a daycare, you see it. Is there kids running around like crazy or is there discipline? Football teams is about discipline. And yes, when you're winning, you're just happy to have a good time. But when you haven't proven anything yet, 3 winning records in a row doesn't mean anything if you haven't done anything. Ask Kirk Cousins. A lot of people. Ask Dan Marino. Lots of winning records. What's the number one thing? He doesn't have a Super Bowl. Trust me. He gave up all his. I guarantee you, Dan Marino would give up all his winning seasons, all his records for one Super Bowl. One. Right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Again, If you sit Tua today, here again, silver lining. Sit Tua today. You let your backup come in. This is his job. The backup's job is to come in and help your team win a game that when your starter is out. If that could happen, and it could, because Cleveland's a very bad football team. They're not good. Miami's lost to bad teams this year, so it's not like it's a cakewalk. But Tyler Huntley comes in against Cleveland. He has familiarity with Cleveland, playing against Cleveland when he played for Baltimore. It could happen. And if all they need to do is win today, I don't care how. It is unrealistic to hope that, oh, Miami better have 30 points. And if they don't score more than 15, they're garbage. We know what we're getting into today. All Miami has to do today is do their job and win. If they do that, that's all that matters. Then you got to be Dolphin fans. You better be at 1:00 around the corner here. You better be Giant fans. Cheer on the Giants to beat the Colts. When you wish upon a star, you better, because it's the Giants, but still, it could happen. You let Tua sit. If Miami could win, Cleveland and Giants could beat Colts, and Colts can lose this week or next week. So the dream does not die if the Colts win. The dream dies if Miami loses. So put your best Dolphin face on. Doesn't matter who's starting. Cheer on your football team. It's still alive. If that happens next week, if Tua's feeling, which more than likely then he will, because then the season's really on the line, he needs to come in and he could play and hopefully win against the Jets in New York. But that's next week. We're talking about this week. Before we get into the finale.
By the way, we are 2-1 in December so far.
That's right.
We have a winning record.
So, yeah, that's right here. However, Tyler Huntley 100% knows how to play the Browns defense. If we sit Tua, Huntley should be the best chance. That's right. That's what I'm saying.
And Tua
Huntley is familiar in the AFC North.
And Huntley can run.
Huntley could run, sure, but still, he knows. He knows what it's like to play against a team like the Browns. Yeah. Oh yeah, Giants win, 2 Fins win, and we end. Yes, that is how it goes. So it's the Bobby is the ultimate fan. See, GSG Label's been watching he's been watching this season, but he hasn't watched. He's been watching for 3 years. It's just speaking truth, brother. It's just the facts.
By the way, let's just get back on one.
There's still a chance.
There's still a chance. And that's great. But this is the Miami Dolphins fan. This is what we do. We're fighting for a made-up position in the playoffs that didn't exist 3 years ago, and we're hoping other things happen. This is not. We never control our own destiny.
No,
and last year we did. We had a 3-game lead. A 3-game lead. And in the game that mattered, even after blowing the 3-game lead, we're at home winning the football game against Buffalo to play a whole playoff game. And that's what I want Ross to see. It's not about the records. It's about what happens when it matters. Last night, no matter what Zach Taylor did, Joe Burrow, the defense did their job, and Joe Burrow went and did it. We have never seen the Dolphins, name me the last time except the game in Buffalo or the game in Baltimore. When's the last time the Dolphins, literally in a tight game, you're saying, "Oh my God, the defense made a big stop and the Dolphins are going to go punch them in their throat and win the football game"? Because you want to know what? I have more faith right now. I have more faith in Jason Sanders right now. Jason Sanders is money. I don't care for the 2 extra points. I will even give you kudos. The guy, every time you needed him this season from 50, 58, 57, key field goals. In the moment, he has won you football games. We would not have 7 wins without Jason Sanders. We would not. We have maybe 4. He has won you football games. Yeah. Jason freaking Sanders.
Let's do this. We're about an hour in. Let's do our picks, and then we will do our keys to the victory and our final game prediction before we roll this out. Obviously, just to run through quickly, you got the Chiefs over beat the Steelers, the Ravens beat the Texans, Seahawks over the Bears, Chargers over the Jets. Against the Patriots, Cincinnati over the Broncos, and Rams over the Cardinals. So let's start off with an AFC East game. You got the Buffalo Bills against the New York Jets. It's in Buffalo. Jets are 2-6 on the road. The Buffalo Bills 7-0. I'm rolling with Buffalo. Who you got?
Buffalo.
You got the Tennessee Titans at Jacksonville. Just these two teams vying in the top in the top 5. In the draft, they're both 3-12. 2-6 on the road is Tennessee. 2-5 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do you got here? I got the Titans, by the way.
I got the Jaguars.
Okay.
I need the Jaguars on a hot streak.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Good old Mac Jones. We could have had him too.
I know. You got the Carolina Panthers at 4-11 taking on the 8-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 1-5 on the road is Carolina. 3-4 is the Buccaneers. I'm rolling Tampa.
Tampa needs this win huge.
They do for sure, absolutely. If they win that game, they jump Atlanta for the 4th seed in division. Yeah. So you got the Raiders 3-2 taking on the 5-10 New Orleans Saints. Saints are 3-5 at home, where the Raiders are 1-7. I'm going to go with the Saints. I don't think the Raiders do want to win.
How bad were the Saints last week?
Yeah,
they lost 34-0.
Disgusting.
The Saints are going to win, but this is pathetic.
You got the Dallas Cowboys at 7-8 taking on the 12-3 Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, the Eagles are 6-1 at home, where somehow, some way, the Dallas Cowboys, they suck at home in Dallas, but they're very good on the road. They're 5-2 this year. Can Dallas pull up an upset?
No, because Saquon Barkley's going to break the right. He's going to go out. Going to go all out today.
There you go. I'm going to hold the 2 most important games for Miami today towards the end.
Who'd you pick? Philly or Cowboys?
Oh, I picked Philly. You have the Packers at 11-4 taking on the 13-2 Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings with a win and a Lions loss. The Vikings will jump to the number 1 seed in the NFC. Crazy to think. Losing, you bring in Sam Darnold, your rookie who you drafted in the first round goes down. You trade Kirk Cousins, you lose your rookie, you get Sam Darnold, your backup. Who would have known? Comes in, your team is unbelievable. You go 13-2 with a shot to be the number 1 seed. They're 7-1 at home. The Green Bay Packers are 5-2. Does Stager go home happy today? Really? Okay.
Divisional game. The Packers are a little bit on a roll. I think that this is the one. I think a little too much pressure on Sam Darnold today. And I believe that the Packers are going to – it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I think the Packers pick up the 4th quarter victory.
Got you. I have the Vikings. I did pick the Vikings on Friday, but I'm rolling with the Vikings.
Did Stager go against his own team?
No, I don't think he did. Maybe he did. I'm not sure. No, I don't think he did. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember. You got the Falcons against the Commanders, 6-2 on the road. At home is the Commanders, 4-3 are the Falcons. Michael Penix is starting. Kirk Cousins is going to be out the door soon. 8-7 are the Falcons, and 10-5 are the Commanders. I'm rolling with the Commanders.
Jaden Daniels, they came back to life last week.
And then you got the Detroit Lions at 13-2, and with the Vikings possibly winning, they need to have this win to get back to keep the number 1 seed. They go against the San Francisco 49ers. Niners are 4-4 at home, where the Lions are 7-0 on the road. I'm rolling with Detroit.
I look at Kyle Shanahan last week, and even when they lost, you know what I saw? Anger. When we lose, at least he has anger, but he'll be very angry today when the Lions put a stomping on the 49ers.
Damn. All right. And again, if they do lose today, the Vikings will take control of that number 1 seed.
They won't. The Lions are going to kill them today.
So, I'm just saying, take it easy. Anyway, Colts at the Giants. The Giants are 2-13. Look, they are aiming for that Cam Ward, Shadir Sanders pick. They want that quarterback. Remember, the Giants GM was at the bowl game yesterday, the Pop-Tart Bowl, watching Cam Ward.
The Pop-Tart Bowl. How could they come up with all these names?
I don't know.
By the way, just side news. I don't know if you're basketball. The Lakers just traded D'Angelo Russell.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Maxwell Lewis, and 3 second-round picks to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton.
Wow.
Yeah. Russell, how many times has Russell been on the Lakers?
That dude, he got traded from the Lakers twice.
Like that.
So anyway, the Colts are 7-8. They're 3-5 on the road. They're Anthony Richardson, their starting quarterback, 2 years in the NFL, is not playing today. Joe Flacco will get the start. They take on the 2-13 Giants, who are 0-8 at home. Evan, is there a chance?
Yeah, I'm very excited. As long as my dollar comes back to par. Are the Giants going to beat the Colts? It's as likely as Canada becoming the 51st state. To take the Giants are the Dolphins are going to win the next 2 games, but the Colts are not going to lose the next 2 games. They're gimme games. Like everything, the Dolphins have to look back at the Cardinals game. They have to look back at that game and say, "What the frick did we do?"
Mm-hmm.
That's the game. That's the game. That and the Colts game. Those 2 games. The fumbles by Mostert and Ingold, and Tua could have been back then if they didn't put him on IR, and the Cardinals games. Those 2 games are the make or break of your season, even with Tua injured. The Colts are not losing today. Joe Flacco is a veteran. I said this earlier on the show. Flacco gives you a better chance than Richardson.
Yeah, I think obviously I will be cheering on the Giants today.
Of course.
Till the final whistle. However, I do agree. I think the Colts will win this game. Joe Flacco is no slouch. I mean, they have a great situation in Indianapolis with their backup situation. So shout out to that. But again, for those keeping count, Indianapolis needs to lose from at least 1 game for Miami's chances to get a lot better. And then the Broncos need to lose next week, and Miami needs to win, not just this week, but also next week for Miami to sneak into the playoffs. Moving on to the Giants first. Browns game today. As we know, the Dolphins are 7-8. The Browns are 3-12. Browns are 2-5 at home, where the Dolphins are 2-5 on the road. The Dolphins defense is ranked 6th in the NFL. Their offense is ranked 15th currently, where the Browns are 25th and 20 on defense, 25 on offense. So before we give our prediction, Finstanza, what are your 3 keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins to win this game?
Tua to start. Oops.
Yeah. Check.
Basically, the only way they win this football game is to create turnovers against Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah.
They have we've had the least amount of turnovers in the NFL. It's unbelievable. They got to stop Jerome Ford on defense. The defense basically has to do their job. Stop the run, create turnovers in a slush bowl, and the only other option is for Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane to have big games. I'm not worried about Tyreek Hill. I need Devon Achane to have 150 all-purpose yards. I need Jonnu Smith to have 8 receptions for about 90 yards, and that's their only chance they're going to win this football game. It's going to be a slush bowl. It's raining all day there.
It's raining all day. A defense needs to have a big game today. They have to shut down the Cleveland offense, and better score more than 50 points. They won't.
They won't.
Yeah, you could put that away. G-Man in the house. Another time late in the season that Tua isn't available. Time to move on, guys. You can't count on Tua anymore. It's over. There's G-Man.
He will be back next year.
Yes. So I think your keys are all in the money. I will say again, clean football game in regards of penalties. This is not a game you could afford to give up. And I don't care who's starting at quarterback. I don't care who's playing. I don't care what. There is no way the Dolphins should lose to the Browns today. 0 reason. It will be full nuclear on post game. If so, full warning, I'm sure. But
I'm not upset.
Finstanza.
Yes.
Your game prediction, sir.
Final score: Dolphins 13, Browns 9.
You were watching Fin's talk today yesterday.
Nope.
Oh, really?
I haven't watched the whole episode yet.
Why waste the time? That's exactly was my prediction.
Was it really?
I said with Tyler Huntley starting, it'll be 13.
Look at the kumbaya, even with a week off.
That's right.
I literally did not
13-9.
I did not finish. I didn't get to your score prediction.
I said with Tyler Huntley starting, it will be a 13-9 victory for the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins should not lose this game, and they will
should not give up a touchdown.
Well, I'll say they will not. I don't
I'll
know.
make it, but I will make a prediction.
Mhm.
If Jerome Ford goes off on a big run, and I'll put it this way: if the Browns score a touchdown, anytime in this football game, the Dolphins will lose. I'm just saying, the Dolphins, because that's going to be I'm telling you, it's going to be.
The Dolphins did win one. I mean, the Dolphins did win one game without Tua, Newfoundland, and just throwing it out there, they did.
By this much.
I know, and it will be this much. We are predicting this much. They're going to win by this much. If Tua does not start next week, and with our season on the line again, they won't win.
I'll put it to you this way: the reason why they won't score more than 13 points for me is not Tyler Huntley. It's the head coach. Because the head coach has never proven to me, as many times as I wanted him to prove it to me, that when it matters without Tua, can he figure it out? And he still can't figure it out with Tua this year. Yeah. So imagine what he's supposed to do.
The best ability is availability, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Let me ask you something. Does he wear Caprice today in 58 degrees?
He probably will.
And his stupid Nikes with his red tag?
Okay.
Is Ross going to be at the game? It's Ross. Watch this. Can you picture this? Ross in the rain? Watch. This is Ross last week. Did you see the Sunday though? Like he literally, Bobby. He looked like he just won the Super Bowl. He looked like he just won the Super Bowl on the sideline.
Yep. Let me take a look. I don't want to miss anything before we wrap this up. I just want to take a look right now. And you're right. I've seen the trade news now coming in.
Yeah.
I
asked my mom today, "Hey, Mom, what are you doing today? It's raining in Florida." She goes, "I'm waiting till 4 o'clock so I can watch the Dolphins game." My mom, Bobby, we've converted her. She literally, every time she takes a picture, she's holding a big Dolphins football that I leave there and I throw with the kids in the pool, has her Dolphins hat and her Dolphins t-shirt. And she watches every single football game. And she gets really upset when she can't access it. But the cool part about being in Florida for since the beginning of December is they get every game.
That's awesome. Well, there you go.
I go, Mom, you have nothing better to do with your 3 hours than watch this team play football. But honestly, I do it for work. I do it for.
There it is. Here's Mama Posner. Look.
There we go. See, she's watching.
There you go.
Well,
wise guy, thank you for tuning in, my man. Fitzstans and I both predict a Dolphins win 13-9 with Tyler Huntley starting. So there is a chance. There is a chance.
They're going to win. That's not the point. The point is that they're not winning the way a playoff team should be winning. They're winning in spite of it. They're winning for the sake of it. It's like basically playing for nothing. They're playing for something, but they're playing for nothing. Because if they were playing for something, you would see growth the last couple of weeks. Because let me ask you something. I'm surprised you haven't posted the picture. Why would I post the picture? I don't post pictures of people. I'm a social media. I'm here. I don't post pictures.
What picture?
Oh, her all dressed up. I don't want to embarrass her.
She's saying to post a picture. That's not embarrassing her.
Nah. Well,
show Mama Posner, man. Come on now.
On the post game, I'll show a picture. Okay.
All right.
Well, by the way, what does Tammy from Miami think right now about this team? What is she thinking about this football team when you talk to her?
Oh, just the same as us. It's just what it is. She's geared up today. She said that she's watching the game. She sent me a picture of her all dressed up with a new Dolphins hat. So old school hat. So.
I know who Wise Guy is my buddy.
There you go.
He's my guy.
There you go.
All I can tell you is I look at this season and I go, remember, I want it to be when I do this stuff, and you know me, a lot of it is to get a lot of energy out and just have fun with it. But that whole Green Bay game, the whole Houston game, you look at all this and you're going, we're at the exact same point we predicted when we were 2-6. It's just this is so typical Dolphins to finish 9-8 and not make the playoffs. And also, we're gonna have an injured Tua, an injured Waddle, an injured Tyreek. Let's think how the miracle happens. Let's think miracles of all miracles happen, Bobby.
Excuse me.
We're going in once again to go to Baltimore. I always look at this. I go, Buffalo or Baltimore? Probably Buffalo. Destroyed. Completely destroyed. Okay, and I will tell you this. If they somehow make it to Buffalo, I'll find a way to make it to Buffalo. If the Dolphins can get to Buffalo, I'll get to Buffalo in a snowstorm if I have to. Can you
Here you go.
imagine that? Can
Eric,
you
look,
imagine?
Eric has a little better. He has 16-7. Miami.
7. How do we get 16? 7,
No,
3, 3.
just another field goal.
That's true.
Yeah, come on.
No, you expect to have a Huntley. By the way, this is going to
It
be.
could happen.
Let me ask you something. Do the Dolphins go 500 on third down conversion? Because that's also one thing. Have you seen it? Have you noticed how awful they are on third down conversions? They can't do nothing on third down. Tua. It's even Tua. They can't figure it out on third down. They give up.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
anyways, all I could say is I'm so happy. I'm 2 hours away. You can crash on my couch anytime, buddy. What are you in Ontario or you're in like what part of New York? Are you Rochester? I'll even go with you. Okay, we'll figure it out. Honestly, Bobby, I will hold up a sign saying Mike McDaniel for president. Greer should not be fired. I'll jump through
I
a
hope
table.
Nation stays healthy, man. I don't care if they play a lot.
Can you imagine? By the way, can you believe poor Chase Brown yesterday just falling?
Yeah, that sucked, man. High ankle sprain, they said though. So hopefully he has a chance for him to not. It looks worse than it did.
But you see how excited the Bengals were? By the way, the Bengals have had a very bad season, obviously. They don't beat good teams either. But like they were ecstatic last week with this. The difference is in the last because they know they have Joe Burrow.
Look, Labels says he's in Syracuse. You got a spare room there, Finstanza.
Thank you.
Look at you.
See?
You got all right.
Better find a way. All I can say is, Bobby, can you honestly give me an honest prediction? Do you actually think let me ask them, what's more likely?
Yeah.
The Dolphins to win both games, the Colts to lose one, or the Broncos to lose one? What's the more likely scenario for you? If you had to put it in order,
the Dolphins losing one of the games. Dolphins losing against the Jets
is most likely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just what it is. I remember I've been saying all year. I said at the beginning of the year, I believe the Dolphins were going to split the series. Even when Miami beat the Jets, or a couple weeks ago, I said I still thought it was going to go down that way. So, look, first again, guys, we're about an hour and a half in. We're about 30 minutes until game time for at least the Giants and the Colts. Dolphins play at 4 in the afternoon. But I want to give a shout out to everyone who's watching right now. Evan and I do truly appreciate you all watching the FTSN pregame show. We'll be back on tonight, but William, Label, Cagney, G-Man, Justin, Basketball Jones, Utah. I don't want to miss it. Eric, CC, Newfoundland, Wise Guy, Carol. That's Mama Posner. Timothy.
Better be nice to Mama Posner.
Always. Why did I say something bad?
No.
Kat?
Do you know who's visiting Mama Posner this week? You better have a little chat with him that he's respectful.
Who's that?
Alex Chisca is visiting my parents this week. He promised.
Joshua.
I bought window blinds for my parents.
There you go, Linda.
Giving him business.
Spins. Trying to just make sure I get everybody. Forgive me if I miss you, somebody important. That's a great name, Dad. Dean, Nacho, Mark, IEC, Steve Malloy of Real Talk, Fins Talk, Mama Fins Talk, Tammy from Miami.
I'm calling Tammy from Miami to yell at Alex if she doesn't go visit Mama Posner this week.
Oh, Alex will. Alex is amazing.
Alex is a great guy.
Yeah, Alex would do it.
He knows Hallandale. He knows that area very, very well.
But anyway, guys, we appreciate you all. Yes, Dolphins need to win both games. Broncos need to lose next week. Colts need to lose just one game either this week or next week, and then Miami is in. That's Evan Posner. I'm Bobby Finstock. We appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Most importantly, Dolphin fans, fins up. We will see you tonight, win, lose, or draw.
Oh, my hip.